something my therapist had taught me. Jagger was riling me up, again, as if that was his sole purpose for existence. And he'd been doing it from day one, from the second we'd been made to share this way too small cubicle. I'd been forced to hand construct, with very little experience in such things, I might add, a partition to divide our desk in half. Did you know that using a nail gun is not as easy as they make it look in those DIY YouTube tutorials? That had been precisely 6 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days ago. Yes, I was counting. Because that was the day when my entire work life changed. When it went from normal and pleasant to downright hell on earth, all thanks to him, Jagger Villain. I'm also not entirely sure that's his real surname, by the way, although there is definite poetic sense to it. So, I said, what is it, and why did you move the partition? Jagger gave me one of his signature shrugs, a move that totally ticked me off. Everything about him did, but it was these shrugs that really grated on me. They were always accompanied with this casual, bordering on utterly uninterested in everything around him attitude that he seemed to ooze around the office. I say ooze because Jagger Villain never walks, oh no. He slips and slides through the office like shiny liquid mercury, glinting and gliding under desks and doors, flowing through small spaces, and somehow always managing to be everywhere at once. And we all know how poisonous mercury is. God, it's way too early in the morning for this interrogation. He gave me that stupid lopsided smile of his, which I've noticed has quite an effect on all the females in the office. It seems to make them positively lopsided themselves. In fact, some seem so lopsided that they look as if they might fall over onto their backs. Not me, though. I remain upright. It is after 9, Jagger. I'm supposed to be working, but thanks to you, I'm officially, I glanced down at my watch, 2 minutes late. He chuckled. God, I hated that chuckle of his. Has anyone told you how funny you are, Maggie May? Stop calling me that. But it's such a classic song. Do, 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 ah. What are you doing? I watched in horror as he made some strange noises and did something with his fingers in the air that I couldn't interpret. Catchiest guitar riff ever. Stop. I held my hand up. He smiled, leaned back in his chair, crossed his legs and put his hands behind his head, another one of his signature moves. I glared right into those silver-grey eyes of his, which only seemed to make his smile grow. The mark. I pointed down at the desk. What is it? Jagger rose from his seat with a dramatic swoosh. He was tall, taller than most men. This was the other thing I'd noticed women got lopsided about. They always seemed to gaze up at him with a ridiculous look in their eyes, as if they'd been living in a nunnery for years and were encountering the last male on earth. Jagger straightened his T-shirt, although I have no idea why. His T-shirts were always old and crumpled, and looked as if they'd been lying around on some floor in a twisted pile all night. Whose floor they'd been lying on, though, was anyone's guess. "Hey, Jag." I heard a voice and turned. It was Denise from accounts. "Hey," she said again, her voice sounding like the slow, high-pitched drag of a bow across a violin. The sound made my skin crawl, and I wasn't sure how to interpret her tone, but it did give me pause. It seemed to imply something. Something. And then her lips twitched into the slightest smile, and, oh my God. I turned back to Jagger and scowled at him. Surely he wouldn't. I reached down and wiped the stain with a piece of paper and then raised it to my eyes. My suspicions about its origins were instantly confirmed. I glared at Denise's mauve lips and then turned my attention back to Jagger. You did not. On my side.